laid and welcome. Bro, as you can see, we back with something a little different. The day that almost ended the world. Like always, we ain't gonna do too much talking. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment what we should watch next, and let's get to this video, man. Before we get started, you got 5 seconds. I'm already started. No, bro. 4, 3, 2. Let's get it. Like and subscribe.
March 11th, 2011. A routine Friday became the deadliest day in modern Japan. But it was only the beginning.
A tsunami that sent a giant wall of water racing towards
Tsunami
the
is
coast.
crazy.
A sudden explosion occurred. Something that shouldn't have happened. From that moment, the disaster threatened not just Japan, but the entire world.
It is a fact in this part of Japan that at this moment in time, there are not enough.
Bro, do y'all see this? That's all water and land at this point. That's crazy. Onward.
Living to take care of the dead.
Not enough living to take. Let's do it.
The first warning signs appeared on March 9th, 2011, 2 days before the disaster. 11:45 a.m., a 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Sanriku, Japan, shaking buildings and briefly alarming residents. It was powerful, but not unusual for a country accustomed to tremors.
Right.
3 more earthquakes occurred on the same day, in the same area, each with a magnitude exceeding 6.0. But life quickly returned to normal, and still, no one knew this was the Earth's first whisper before the roar. 11th of March 2011, 2:45 p.m. Japan's earthquake early
2011.
warning system.
For those who don't know, 2011 is a crazy year for weather and disasters in general. Tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, I guess. Go look up 2011 if you're into that. Onward.
Detected the initial P
And like and subscribe. We almost at 4K. Bro. Onward.
waves through over 1,000 seismometers spread across the country and immediately issued an emergency earthquake warning. As a result, high-speed trains came to a halt, factories shut down their machinery, and children in schools were instructed to take cover. Only when the ground began to tremble did they realize something was wrong. But by then, it was already too late.
Cranes up there. They're shaking like crazy. This is massive.
Wow.
He's kinda
2:46
hot.
p.m. A 9.1 magnitude underwater megathrust earthquake occurred in the northwestern Pacific Ocean at a relatively shallow depth of 18 miles. The epicenter was around 45 miles east of the Oshika Peninsula of Tohoku, Japan, and the tremors were felt throughout the country
Wow.
and even beyond.
The terrifying moment when it all began. A super earthquake and nowhere to hide.
The most terrifying part was
Where do
that
you go?
this was only the beginning. Since Kurihara City, Miyagi Prefecture, was closest to the epicenter, it experienced the strongest shaking.
Where do you go? Nowhere in your house is safe, up or down, right? Like a basement wouldn't be safe. You just go outside. Like what? Comment below if you know. What's the safest thing to do if it's an earthquake? Literally. Onward.
A 7 intensity on the JMA scale. However, very strong tremors were also felt in Iwate, Fukushima, Ibaraki, and Tochigi prefectures. Tokyo, which is about 232 miles from the epicenter, also witnessed the Earth's wrath as high rises continued to sway for minutes.
That's terrifying.
But that's not all. Kyoto and Osaka, which are hundreds of miles away in western Japan, also reported noticeable tremors. Outside Japan, parts of China, Russia, and Taiwan also felt the quake.
That's insane.
In fact, it was so intense that seismic instruments detected it across the entire globe. The tremors were so strong that they caused the Earth to wobble about 7 inches on its axis. For 6 endless minutes, the Earth did not stop. During this time, Japan realized
6
that no
minutes is a long
technology
time,
could
too.
predict and stop what nature had awakened.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Go outside, bro.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. This is weird. I've never experienced ground shaking like this.
Mother and child were at home when the ground shook violently. Everything around her began to shake violently, and she immediately realized that it was a major earthquake. She quickly grabbed her son and ran outside, hoping that the shaking would stop soon. When she went outside, she saw more and more people running out of their homes, each of them desperately trying to help their loved ones. Both she and her son survived the earthquake, but the worst was yet to come. Under the ocean, tension had been building for centuries, and on that
graphics.
day, it broke through.
The bottom underneath is still shaking. We were just driving and the car was shaking from left to right. It's amazing, it's amazing. Everything was shaking, really, really strong. You can see still the cables up there moving.
When silence returned, Japan did not yet know that the real hell was just happening. Japan's main island, Honshu, had been pushed 7.9 feet eastward, while parts of the coastline had sunk nearly 3 feet, swallowed slightly deeper by the sea. Most of Japan's modern buildings survived, but a significant portion of older structures suffered various types of damage, with oil refineries catching fire under the strong shaking. The Cosmo oil refinery suffered a worse fate as it burned uncontrollably for days, turning the skyline black with smoke and ash. The most destruction was observed near the epicenter, as it bore the full force of the 9-magnitude earthquake. Almost 200 people lost their lives to the earthquake itself, and the cost of destruction was staggering, an estimated $200 billion US.
200
Yet,
billion?
even in the midst of smoke and rubble, people believed they had survived the worst. But far below the calm-looking Pacific, the real disaster was awakening. Minutes after the earthquake, the ocean began to rise unnaturally, the first ominous sign of a tsunami. 2:49 p.m.
Goodness.
The Japan Meteorological Agency issued tsunami.
There's a few things y'all need to know about me, just to put y'all in my headspace going into this. There's only about 2 things that I'm really afraid of in life. Heights, with a few exceptions. I'll still ride roller coasters on, bro. And deep, deep water. Deep, deep water that can rise to crazy heights combines to be my biggest fear. Onward.
Warnings. At the time, the maximum estimated wave heights were 20 feet, but a GPS buoy off of Iwate's coast soon detected a terrifying truth. The sea level was rising far faster and far higher than anyone had imagined.
Oh my goodness.
This wasn't a wave. It was a wall, and it was going to slam into Japan's coastline.
Live coverage of a river in Miyagi Prefecture. Tsunami obviously hitting, water going upwards towards the river.
The JMA quickly issued a second tsunami warning, upgrading the tsunami heights to over 33 feet for Miyagi.
Take me now.
And 20 feet for Iwate and Fukushima.
RIP to all the victims too.
3:21 p.m. A 26-foot high wave slammed into Miyako in Iwate Prefecture, the closest city to the earthquake's epicenter. Miyako's position along the Sanriku coast, with its deep V-shaped bays, funneled and amplified the tsunami's power, causing it to hit earlier and far more violently than anywhere else. But here's the remarkable part. The Sanriku district had already faced the tsunami's destructive forces before, in 1933 and 1960. And learning from those bitter experiences, protective seawalls were built around the coastal area to protect it from future disasters.
Right?
It seemed like everything should have been safe, right? But the waves were so high that they crashed down on Sanriku with incredible force that day.
A tsunami that sent a giant wall of water racing towards the coast, tossing cars, boats, and buildings like fragile toys.
I just couldn't
One
imagine.
man heard the sirens and stepped outside, camera in hand, to capture the approaching waves, but nothing could prepare him for what he was about to witness. The ocean was moving faster than anyone imagined, swallowing the neighborhood in seconds. He quickly moved towards higher ground, but soon realized that he wasn't high enough. The water kept rising, and the waves turned deadly, tearing
My
houses
goodness,
from
bro.
their foundations. He survived the tsunami, but a ticking bomb, just 100 miles away, was about to change his country's fate forever. 3:22 p.m. One coastal region after another was struck by massive waves that swept from Aomori Prefecture to Chiba Prefecture. Each town in the tsunami's path suffered extensive destruction as buildings, ports, and homes
Where
were
do you
torn
go?
apart by the force of water. The seawalls built to protect Japan's coastal cities proved no match for the tsunami's sheer weight and power. In Rikuzen Takata, waves rose high as a 3-story building. At Koborinai Taro, the water reached 124 feet, and at Omoe Anayoshi in Miyako City, it climbed to nearly 131 feet, wiping out everything in its path. This was the highest tsunami wave ever recorded in Japan,
Wow.
which means that many residents had no place to run or hide.
Wow.
These images from Japanese TV show the terrible power of the water, sweeping away whole shipping containers and crushing buildings like tin cans.
3:25 p.m. Surging water swept through coastal towns, leaving behind vast stretches of wreckage. Kuji and the southern part of Ofunato were among the hardest hit.
Have a tsunami ever hit America before? Don't call me stupid. I just don't know. I never lived near an ocean. No, bro. But comment, let me know. Have it? It'd probably be like California. Or
With entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble across a 420-mile stretch of Japan's eastern coast, from Erimo in Hokkaido to Owarai in Ibaraki. The devastation was catastrophic, much of it occurring within the first hour after the earthquake struck. About 200 people, teachers, children, and parents were sheltering from the earthquake inside the Noeru school building.
The teachers were like, let's go check the classrooms to make sure everyone's okay and start getting everyone to the gym.
They believed the worst was over, unaware that the ocean was preparing a new, merciless strike.
Some guy with a helmet on, he ran in and he was like, tsunami's coming. And then the principal was like,
Wow.
okay, everyone run back to the school. And he said he saw a wall of water coming. So he's like, everyone run back inside.
The tsunami tore through the school like a raging beast, smashing walls and sweeping away everything and
could not
everyone in
imagine.
its path. Risking his life, David Shum tried to save as many as he could, pulling children and adults from the chaos of water and debris.
I saw like one of my kids, like he was like struggling. So I grabbed him, I grabbed his shirt, and I was able to like pull him over to the side, and he was able to grab onto the railing. And I helped keep him over, and I saw like a big desk with like 4 or 5 of my kids like hanging on to it, and they're like saying,
W him. Good work. All work.
you know, they're shouting like, help me, help us. And finally I was able to like grab a hold of the desk and pull it closer to me, and then was able to grab them one by one, and we were able to get them over.
We find the toys,
Good
books,
work.
the shoes of the children piled inside with care and respect. 108 people were in school that day. 74 children and staff were killed.
And for the few who survived,
All
the
right,
true
B.
ordeal was only beginning. 30 minutes after the major waves had struck the towns, the floodwaters began to recede. The receding water moved with almost the same force as it had when it came in, dragging debris, vehicles, and collapsed buildings back into the ocean. Many people who had clung to debris or floated on rooftops during the flooding were mercilessly swept away with a powerful current. Others who had fled to higher ground helplessly watched their broken houses being pulled away into the sea. It was in this moment that people realized the true extent of the devastation. Entire stretches of low-lying land remained submerged, making rescue operations nearly impossible. By the end of the day, more than 18,000 people had lost their lives, out of which several thousand bodies have...
Yeah, a moment of silence. $18,000 is crazy.
Victims were never recovered. The aftermath was unbearable to witness. Entire towns
Boat
had vanished,
on top of house
replaced by silence and debris. Two sons combed through the wreckage for their family, only to find their mother inside her car, lifeless, beside their niece and nephew.
There is no place to put this many bodies. The morgues are completely full. And frankly, there aren't enough people to move them. It is a fact in this part of Japan that at this moment in time, there are not enough living to take care of the dead.
The devastating tsunami did not stop at Japan's shores. It burst from the epicenter, racing across the Pacific Ocean at nearly 500 miles an hour. Within hours, 12-foot waves struck Hawaii and the Aleutian Islands of Alaska before reaching California and Oregon.
There's our
In
answer right
Crescent
there.
City, the waves destroyed the harbor. Docks were torn apart, boats smashed, and damage reached $25 to $30 million. In Santa Cruz, dozens of boats sank, piers were shattered, and losses exceeded $17 million. After 18 hours, the tsunami even reached Antarctica. A foot-high wave broke off part of the Salzburger ice shelf. But while everyone was trying to comprehend the scale of the catastrophe, a more deadly crisis was unfolding at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant.
Oh no.
The site had silently turned into a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. The power plant is located in Okuma and Futaba towns, Fukushima Prefecture, on Japan's east coast. When the earthquake struck at 2:46 p.m., the plant lost its main power supply when transmission lines went down, so the reactor switched to emergency diesel generators to keep the cooling systems running and prevent overheating. Inside the plant, Atsufumi Yoshizawa, an engineer responsible for reactors 5 and 6, had no idea that what seemed under control in just 55 minutes would turn into a full-scale catastrophe. A 49-foot-high tsunami wave struck the Fukushima coast, towering over the plant's 19-foot seawall and overwhelming everything in its path. The wave flooded the plant, destroying diesel generators and electrical systems in the basements. Within seconds, the facility was plunged into darkness. Cooling stopped, and the temperature in the reactors began to rise rapidly.
Oh no.
The emergency signals coming to Yoshizawa were getting worse and worse. At that moment, he realized that the situation was getting out of control, and the station was on the verge of disaster. The Japanese government quickly ordered the first evacuation within a 1.9-mile radius of the power plant. Residents in the 2 to 6 mile zone were told to stay indoors, but as radiation levels spiked, the evacuation zone was expanded to a 6-mile radius. 7:30 p.m. Despite desperate attempts by engineers to reduce the pressure, the reactor continued to heat up rapidly. By morning, the temperature had reached critical levels, and internal components of the reactor began to melt, bringing disaster closer.
It's like a Chernobyl
March
event?
2011, 3:36 p.m. A hydrogen explosion ripped through the first unit, tearing off the roof of the reactor building. It was now clear that the Fukushima nuclear power plant was out of control, and the government quickly expanded the evacuation zone to 12 miles. But the nightmare continued. For 2 days, specialists fought desperately to stabilize the plant. But on March 14th at 11:01, the third unit exploded, even more powerful than the first, causing seismic damage and the release of radioactive waste, and a partial meltdown of the core occurred in the second reactor. On March 15th, 2011, the second unit began to massively release radioactive gases. Although there was no explosion there, this release gave the highest radiation levels. On the same day, a fire broke out in the spent fuel storage area of...
If y'all don't know the significance of this, besides the explosions, it's the radiation. radiation is invisible unless you got special tools and stuff. But it kills people, but it also kills soil. It also kills ecosystems like the animals and the plants. Like once it's in there, it's unusable. And if it's sitting there too much, then it can never be used again. So that's why it's such an important reason to get it under control as quick as possible.
Fourth unit, which released additional radionuclides into the atmosphere. It was then that Atsufumi Yoshizawa realized that Fukushima had finally turned into a full-scale nuclear disaster.
And the situation's still far from under control. We're hearing radiation levels inside the plant reached as high as 1,000 times the normal level. So what started as a natural disaster has the potential to become an even more threatening man-made disaster.
The power plant had reached its most critical phase, and most people were expecting an evacuation. However, a small group of men, later known as the Fukushima 50, stayed inside the nuclear plant. These men, mostly TEPCO employees, engineers, technicians, and operators, had a terrifyingly clear mission: stabilize the reactors, prevent a full meltdown, and contain the radiation at any cost. The Fukushima 50 were not soldiers or heroes by choice.
Shout out to them.
They were ordinary workers who refused to leave when their country needed them most.
It's frightening.
Oh,
I don't know
bro.
much about radiation, but I believe that being exposed to large amounts of it meant certain death, so fear is only natural. But counteracting that fear was a sense of duty that all of us felt.
Yoshizawa and his colleagues remained at the plant for an entire month, working under deadly conditions to bring the station under control and restore hope for a safer future. In truth, without the Fukushima 50,
Hope they were paid,
the
bro.
nuclear disaster could have been far worse, and the world might look very different today. Neo Kimura lived with his wife and 2 daughters next door to his parents. When the tsunami struck, the waves swept away his father, his wife, and his youngest daughter, 7-year-old Yuna. All that remained was the empty foundation where their home once stood.
This is a shoe she was wearing that day, which was found in a heap of rubble 6 months after the disaster.
Unfortunately, there was no time to mourn his family, as Neo had to vacate the area due to the looming threat from the Fukushima power
Man,
plant.
these dudes are heroes, bro. There's really no way around it. Like, these dudes is heroes. It explains itself. Bro, onward.
More than a decade later, the remains of all 111 people who died in Okuma that day have been found, all except for Yuna. By March 20th, power to the plant had been partially restored, but it took several more weeks before the cooling systems were fully operational. The explosions left behind more than just ruins. Radioactive particles spread across Japan, reaching even the United States and Europe. TEPCO later admitted that over 10,000 tons of contaminated water had leaked into the ocean. The fallout rendered vast areas around the plant uninhabitable. Even after years of cleanup, more than 100,000 people remained displaced. The Fukushima disaster became the costliest nuclear accident in history, with expenses exceeding $180 billion. The 2011 Tohoku earthquake was not only the most powerful ever recorded in Japan, its effects were felt around the world, and debris from Japanese towns still wash up on the North American coast, a haunting reminder of that day. More than 120,000 buildings were reduced to rubble, nearly 20,000 lives were lost, and thousands remain missing. The total damage reached $235 billion, making it the most expensive natural disaster in human history.
Wow.
Japan has risen to its feet once more, but March 11th, 2011 left a scar not only on its land,
Japan has been through some
but
stuff.
on the world's collective memory. A reminder of a power that shows no mercy.
Shout out to Japan, man. Great video. If you watched all the way through, appreciate you. Like and subscribe. I'm out.